තලවතුගඩ නිස්කලංක හා මනරම් ප්‍රදේශක පෙහෙටි නගරයට තදාසන්න මේ දැකුම් කළු නිවස ගෘහ නිර්මාණ ශිල්පී රුවනීකුරුගේ සහ පුලස්ති විජයකුන් දෙපළගේ අනගී භවනීය නිර්මාණයක්. ග්‍රාමීය චමත්කාරය එලෙසින්ම රඳවා තබා කලිමින් සුබාදහමත් නිවසත් එක්තැන් කළ නෙත් සිත් පෙනවන මේ සිව් මහල් මන්දිරයේ ශිල්පීය විශ්මය ගැන දැනගන්න අපි එහි නිර්මාණ ශිල්පීන් සමග කතා කළා.
So the brief was to design a 4-bedroom house in a 40 perch land and with all the service areas, public areas that you normally have in a house. But the real question was, how do you organize this brief? How do you get the matrix right? How do you create the connections, the separations and the overlappings right, so that it's functionally, aesthetically, everything comes together. So the first time when we went to the site, it was full of tall, slender trees with tree canopies, and the first thought was to incorporate this garden feel, these trees, the surroundings in the overall experience of the house in different ways. We decided to stack the program vertically instead of spreading it out in the site so that we can retain more of the garden. So in the ground floor and the lower ground floor combined, it looks like a solid base which is embracing the earth and merging with the landscape, and then we have this middle level which is a negative volume, and then on top of that is this soaring big thick roof which is coming down with these slender columns. Ground floor is like a mini version of the house. It consists of everything you need, and it's like a single level accessible apartment that could be on its own. It's got a small living area, small dining area, the kitchen, a bedroom, an ensuite, a study area, a veranda, everything. And then the main living space of the house is lifted up and it's in the level 1. It's the kind of space that in the Sri Lankan climatic cultural context that you would want to live in. It's a concrete house. We moved away from the traditional masonry, brick, mortar, plaster and painting. We were after this monolithic sculpturous look, that unique character that from concrete walls, from concrete envelope could bring into the interior, bring into the house. And on the contrary, with the joinery and the furniture, we added bit of color, bit of texture, and there was a little bit of timber to bring in some warmth, and then loose furniture and vintage furniture which added bit of shape, bit of color, bit of variety, texture to contrast with the very monolithic, very sculpturesque interior. Also we derived the aesthetics of the house from the day-to-day functions as well. We streamlined and custom-made furniture, custom-made joinery like the walk-in wardrobes, the back kitchen, the laundry cupboards, the linen cupboards, the dressing areas, the writing desks, all were incorporated into the design and they were not added on as an afterthought. The realization of the structure was a real challenge. The structural principle works as in that of a high-rise building. We have the staircase and a vertical core which is acting like two structural elements, and then two sets of slender columns in the periphery of the building. Also getting light, natural light and ventilation into the spaces was very important to the client as well as for us. So the building was not in the ideal orientation. The main aspect of the building was facing west. So we had to devise ways of treating the main interface of the building to get as much natural light in, but without letting in the glare and the hot sun. So we created verandas. We created sort of buffer zones like verandas, balconies, terraces, screening sometimes to let the light in without the hot glare. We just let the garden grow naturally with the natural traditional backyard trees of Sri Lankan households. Like, it's interesting, during the pandemic lockdown time, the house and the garden has achieved sort of a self-sufficient status. The garden has become such a productive garden, and its abundance and its all the produce has been shared with the neighborhood. So I think that sort of gives a meaning and a purpose for the big trees, small plants.